So let's work on the mobile version of our sexy menu. So, well, first of all, the desktop version was working fine, as you can see. Yeah, no problem at all. So to me, this is like complete. But on mobile, we got a button. The button is correctly handling the state. That's fine. That's super cool. However, nothing really happens. Yeah. So what is the menu? All right. So let's try a few things. First of all, ignoring the button. I may leave that for the end of this session. Let's go back to the code. And now my plan is, if the menu is expanded, I would like to add a new class here. Something like is expanded. So then on the CSS, whenever the menu links element has the is expanded class, we'll do some visual changes. So first of all, how do we add the is expanded class? Look, this is a string, yeah? Because that's a string, we can do that. We can encapsulate with curly braces. And now that becomes a JavaScript expression. And because that's a JavaScript expression, can I do that? You see the backticks? So now I can write what I want here, like a template literal. Yeah. So I can do something like this.state.is expanded. So if the menu is expanded, then add another class is expanded. And now, else, what if the menu is not expanded? Then nothing else. That's it. Yeah, that's a bit weird, but that's just a string, right? So that element will have the class name menu links for sure, and also if the menu is expanded, then also append that is expanded class. I'm writing this.state.is expanded a couple of times. I'm not a big fan of repeating myself, so let me create a variable. Let is expanded equals this.state.is expanded. Does it make sense? All right, so now I can simply, boom, you see? Now the code gets more readable. Can we destructure that bit? Curly brackets where?
Curly brackets around is expanded. Delete is expanded within this system.
Correct. Even easier. Yeah. So that code to me looks super sexy. So first of all, back to the browser. Let's keep an eye on the menu links. Let's see. Let me zoom that a bit more. Yep. So let's see if we got the new class name. Cool. You see? On the right hand side. Fantastic. Fantastic. So I'm essentially delegating now the problem into the CSS. It's up to the CSS to decide what happened whenever my menu links component has the is expanded class. So far, we got display none, but obviously we want to change that a bit. So back to the CSS, menu.css. We got menu links, display none. So now I would like to add a new class, menu links dot is expanded. You see that this is CSS code. We are essentially combining two CSS class selectors. First of all, refer to any element with class menu links that also has the class is expanded. Both classes should be present to apply some styling here. Can I, for instance, do display block for now? Will that make any difference? I don't know. Let's have a look. Ah, cool. You see? When I click on the menu, it gets displayed. If I don't click on the menu, it doesn't get displayed. So that's definitely working as far as I want. Yeah? Obviously, that UX is a bit weird, yeah, because the menu button is moved, then that's a bit hard to click. I would like to bring a proper sliding menu, fitting all the vertical height, something a bit more sexy. Yeah? So I would like to prototype with Google Chrome a bit. Yeah, that's menu links. I definitely want the menu links to float on top of whatever the content is in your portfolio underneath. So this is a good example of using the position absolute. So if I type position absolute, you see, now the menu is floating on top of the button. But also, let's change things a bit more. So let's do, let's add some background color, like salmon, because you like that color because of a reason. Also, let's set a fixed width, 200 pixels, okay. Let's force the menu to fit all the available space. There are different ways to do that. Probably my favorite one is, first of all, set the top position to 0. That means the the links will start displaying on top of the screen. And also, look, you can do bottom 0. Look at how cool this is, yeah? Top 0, bottom 0 means it will fit all the available vertical width. And that's quite cool. However, can you see any problem? How do I close the menu now? I can't. Yeah? I can't because the links are about the button. Look, here is the menu links, and here is the button. Before doing any additional change, because I'm quite happy more or less with how it looks like, let me copy these things into my VS Code. So now the changes will persist. Yep. So, yeah. So now if I refresh, that's okay. When I click, it's okay as well, but I cannot close the menu. So there is a very cool property in CSS to change with the positioning of the elements. So at the moment, the problem is we got 2 layers, but one goes on top of the other. But we want to change that. We want the menu to be closer to us. Does anyone know the name of that property? Set index, that's correct. Set is because the set axis. So this is the horizontal, this is the x-axis, the vertical is the y-axis, but then the 3D, yeah, I like that, the 3D, that's the Z axis. So, say it again? The depth, correct, the depth. So look, let's play with different values of set index. For instance, 0, nothing changes. 1, aha, you see? Just by changing to 1, now the menu is on top. I've seen many people doing that. That's completely horrible. That means you have no idea what you're doing, right? Do you really have 1 million elements on the screen to the point that you need to add the number? So that's a way, when you do that, that's smelly. It's like using this exclamation mark important, you remember? That means you are unable to control the quality of your CSS. So when you ever see that, that's absolutely wrong. Numbers, the lower the better. Is 0 close enough? No. 1? Yes. Let's leave it 1. And now, cool. At least I can toggle the menu. Obviously, you may be saying, hey, but I cannot click on the home button. No problem at all. Let's add some padding, maybe. Yeah. So, padding top, I don't know, 100 pixels. Cool. Yeah, something like that. So now that looks super cool, right? Let's persist the changes. So first of all, on the button, what is the button? Menu button, here you go. You remember, set index 1. And then on the menu, oh, that's duplicated. That's a bit weird. That shouldn't be here. Menu links, here we do padding top, 100 pixels, for instance, yeah? So now, there you go, cool, much better. If you think that the user, I mean, if we go to actual mobile, that's very small, right? It doesn't help. But on top of that, you see that the buttons and the links are very close to each other. So if you get a very fat finger, you may fail clicking on the right menu element. So let me add, maybe some styling, right? So I don't think we have any styling on mobile on the links. Actually, we got them on desktop, I think, right? You remember padding 20 pixels? But that only applies to desktop. That's not good. I want to apply these styles to mobile as well. So I will create a menu link padding 20 pixels. So that will apply to mobile and to desktop, because these styles outside of the media query are generic for both mobile and desktop. And I hope you agree with me. Now it looks better, right? Because there is more space surrounding the menu items. Any questions so far? No? Cool. So that's the first step. Now let's animate the menu. At the moment it's either visible or hidden, yeah? But I would like to slide the menu from the right. So first of all, let me present you the classic solution, and then let me show you something absolutely fantastic I've learned 2 days ago. So first of all, the classic solution. The classic solution is, first of all, if we really want to animate the menu, we cannot play with display none or display block. That doesn't make any sense. Why? Because as we discussed last week, if you get a margin is a number. So you can move from margin 0 to margin 100, and you can animate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah? Opacity, the same thing. Opacity 0, 0.1, 0.2. Yeah? But you cannot be half pregnant, right? So the same thing with display. Something cannot be half display. Either it's display or it's not display. So we need to give up. We need to give up with this strategy. Display none doesn't work. Yeah? So let me get rid of that. But obviously now this is broken, right? Because by default, if I refresh the page, is menu expanded? No. The menu is always visible. So we need to do something. We really need to do something. Let me try something. Can I play with the right positioning? Right. What's the width of the menu? 200 pixels, right? So can I try to do right minus 200 pixels? Negative. So now the menu will be hidden on the right hand side of the screen. So now when the menu is expanded, what will be the actual right position? Say it again? 200. Okay, let's try that. Let's try that. Wrong? 0. Correct, Kaini. Look, if I select the menu, obviously, yeah, 0 means align the menu to the right hand side. Yeah? So if we change it to 0, even we refresh, now, I mean, visually speaking, there is no change yet, yeah? Still no animation, so that's not great. However, can anybody tell me how can I animate the transition? Correct. Transition, what? Right? And then the type of transition could be linear. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago we played with different transition styles? Let me select is. It's probably the most popular one. And then the duration of the transition. For instance, 300 milliseconds, or if you prefer, 0.3 seconds, as an example. I've seen many people doing things like that, moving properties to the is expanded. That's wrong, guys, that's wrong. So on the spatial state, please only declare the properties that are going to change. If something remains stable, regardless of whether the menu is visible or not, like top, bottom, then leave it here. Yeah, leave it on the default definition of the styles. Will it work? Ooh, cool. Yeah? And that's now super cool, yeah? Because now our element, our menu floats on the screen, yeah, when you open and close it. So before going any further, let me check if desktop is still okay, yeah? Because that's a classic problem. You focus on mobile and you forget desktop, and then you realize that desktop is broken, or the other way around. So back to desktop to see how it looks like. Not great, right? What the hell is that? Then that doesn't make sense. We don't want that. We don't want that on the desktop version. So no problem at all. I mean, I applied the salmon background color on mobile. So, you know, the only thing I need to do is go back to the desktop version. And then what do I need to type here? Background color what? Say it again. White. Okay. I mean, yeah, you're right. White. Yeah. However, what happens if you decide to change the background color of your app from white to yellow? You will see a big white bar here. So guys, be a bit more elegant and do background color transparent. Yeah, so whatever the background is, that's it. There is also a big gap on top. What the hell we got that? That's because, look, we added some padding top. You remember? We added some padding top, 100 pixels, to avoid conflicts with the menu button. So let's revert that on desktop. Padding top, what? 0. Correct. And last thing, if you pay attention, we still have the width to 200 pixels. Visually speaking, it's okay. So if you're a user, it feels okay, but that feels weird to me. You see, technically speaking, the box is only 200 pixels width. So let's change that. Can we do with auto? Yes, with auto means the menu will be as wide as, you know, elements it contains. So once again, let's go to desktop mode with auto. So I believe now it's literally perfect on both use cases scenarios. It's perfect on desktop and it's perfect, well, if I refresh the page, oh, I broke it, you see? I wasn't expecting that. What the hell is that? So if I go back to mobile, oh no, it's okay. What happened? You see the problem? It's okay. That's a bit weird. It's okay. That's perfect, yeah. But if I go actual mobile, that's broken. I have no idea what is happening, but let's figure it out as usual. So why I got? Oh, sorry, because I was zooming it. Sorry. You see, you must be careful with the actual mobile view because you can do pitching and things like that. So it's easy to think, hey, why does it look like that? What the hell I did? It's because you are zooming the screen, yeah? So be careful with that. Anyway, so if I refresh the page, oh, yeah, I mean, eventually it's okay. Let's refresh again. Sometimes Chrome takes a while to apply the changes, but I hope you agree with me. That's literally what we wanted, right? Any questions? No? So to me, that's pretty much it. But now, bonus stage. Let me show you something super cool. So, you know, we're creating the native app for Codery. It's not a native app, it's just the web app, but you as a user believe it's a native app created in Ionic or whatever, Swift or whatever technology, yeah? But no, that's yes, web app, yeah? So, something I noticed, you know that in Codery, let me show you the mobile version using the web browser. So when you go to mobile, so, you know, it looks like, oops, sorry, let me refresh the page. So it definitely looks like a native app, and you know, you can perform multiple operations or whatever, that's all good, and you got the menu, and then you got notifications, and then you can play with the layers, all these things, right? Something I noticed is, even though that's okay, I realized that the frame rate, when you use the smartphone, it wasn't smooth enough. It was like, especially if you have a low-end device. If you got like an old Android device, it was okay, but it didn't feel really native to me. So then I started to investigate how can we improve the performance of your animations. That's something, to be honest, I never did before. And I found a couple of interesting things. First of all, Google Chrome has a way to calculate the number of frames per second of your animation, which is pretty cool. So let me show you how we open. I mean, you are not expected to be able to do these things. But hey, if you go to your interview and you show them that, boom, the job is yours. All right, so with Google Chrome, it's a bit hard to enable. You need to enter a shortcut. I think in Mac it's Command-Shift-P. In Windows probably it's Control-Shift-P. And now look, you can type like hidden secret commands in Google Chrome. So if I search FPS, frames per second, and look at how cool this is. Yeah? So now Google Chrome is telling me how smooth the animations run. And not sure, probably, I don't think I can zoom that, can I? Let me try if I can No, unfortunately, I cannot get that bigger, so you probably cannot see almost anything. But the animations have a very, well, relatively bad performance, running 30, 40 FPS on my high-spec MacBook Pro 4K pound, yeah? But imagine on a bad mobile device. It looks much worse than here. So, then I started investigating how can we improve the animations performance. And I found a couple of interesting things. Let me show you. The first one, it looks like the browsers are not very efficient animating properties like right, left, top, bottom, margin. They are not efficient. Don't ask me why. It's just something technical. However, there is an alternative. There is a different way of animating my stuff. And the different way is, instead of writing, instead of typing right -200 and write 0, you can write a property called transform. And look, here you can rotate, you can scale, you can do some very complex stuff. It looks like the browser pays a lot of attention to any transformation, because some of these operations are very heavy from a hardware point of view. For instance, rotate 3D, whatever that means. Yeah? You can imagine that this is costly. So the browser is apparently is very efficient dealing with that. So there is a property called translate X. So with translate X, you can do something like that. Translate X means move my content 100%. So whatever the width of the element is, move it 100% to the right. And now you can likewise here say no. Whenever the menu is expanded, translate it to 0. That means leave it on the original position. And of course now we don't want to apply the transition on the right. We want to apply the transition on the transform property. Yeah? So if we do that, I mean, I'll tell you something. Visually speaking, you may not see any difference. You may not. But the difference on mobile is obvious. You can easily duplicate the number of frames per second just by doing this change. Yeah? So yeah, transform. And there is another side effect, something that you may have noticed already, and that is. With the original approach, writing right -200, write 0. What happened if we change the width of the menu? Instead of 200, 300. How many lines of code do we need to change with the original approach? 2, correct. If we change the width from 200 to 300, we have to remember to change it here, obviously, but also we have to remember to change it there. So that's error prone, because you may forget to change one or the other, and then your menu will look very weird. Thanks to the transform, it doesn't care how wide your menu is. Whatever the width is, it will move it 100%. So that's really cool. It's really, really, really cool. Yeah? So that helped. Moving from right, left to transform has helped to improve the FPS of your system. However, there is something absolutely brutal I learned 2 days ago. And there is a property I never heard about called will change. Will change accepts a comma-separated list of properties that you believe they are very important for you. That's a bit hard to grasp. But the thing is, if I put will change transform, as soon as I render the page, Google Chrome or any browser or any native app running a web view will realize that that transform property is very important for me. So Google Chrome will optimize the hardware, will optimize the way it uses the hardware for that property. And that makes a huge difference. That easily multiplied by 3 the number of frames per second. Obviously, that doesn't come for free. So if you do that, your app will require more hardware resources, the CPU, the memory. So you are not expected to add many will change properties, because that will have a penalty in terms of your battery life, blah, 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 blah. But for specific actions, that's fantastic. And actually, I mean, I can show you afterwards if you want, but I can't believe how perform. Now it looks like a real native app. So if I show you, so for instance, the messaging view, that's super heavy. That's super heavy. And now this is super smooth. It's incredible. It definitely looks like a native app just by adding these two properties. First of all, moving from write to transform, and then moving from, or simply adding will change. Yeah? So once again, you're not expecting to know that, but I think it's worth the effort. Yeah? If you mention these things in a job interview, for instance, they may ask you, how do you look after the performance of your app? You may mention these things, and trust me if I tell you that 95% of the companies, they will have never heard about what the hell will change means. Cool, so I think guys, from my side, that's pretty much it. Let me see if it works, actually, or we broke it. Oh, we broke it. Why we broke it? Oh, actually, that's wrong. So translate X is not minus 100, it's 100. Yeah, so it goes left to right. If you put minus, it's right to left. Yeah, so now, here you go. Yeah? I mean, once again, you may not be able to analyze the performance. Once again, there is no big difference on desktop, but on mobile, there is a huge performance difference.
What is frames per second?
Frames per second, so you know, when you are playing, do you play video games? So, you know when you watch a video on YouTube, and you know these videos that is someone is walking on the streets, and it looks like it's very slow, it's taking a while, because whatever reason. However, other videos, they play very smoothly. I'm sure if you search, I can send you a video on YouTube that compares different behaviors. But obviously, the highest number of frames per second, the better, yeah? Imagine that I want to move my phone from here to there. If it moves at 5 frames per second, it will do. If it moves at 60 frames per second, it will be much smoother. Yeah. So the higher the number of frames per second, the better. If you're a game, if you play video games, you know that's vital. Yeah. If you're playing a shooter like Counter-Strike, I mean, if you move the gun like that, it will be very hard to kill Florian, for instance, right? That was a bit unfortunate example. But if my hand moves smoothly, I will be able to control, point to his head or whatever. Yeah? That's all. Exactly. Exactly. Anything else, guys?
So with transform X,
Yes.
how did you make the right and left?
Yes.
Minus
No, because that's the way translate X works. So let me show you again. So if I select the menu and I move it, hopefully I can do that. You see, translate X 100%. So, you see, that means translate X 0 means don't do anything, right? That's the default. But now, if it's negative, it goes to the left. But if the number is positive, it moves to the right. So once again, the beautifulness about that mechanism is, it doesn't really matter how big the menu is. So for instance, if I change from 200 to 300 pixels, you see, now it's wider, unsurprisingly. But now if I move it 50% to the right, it will be half visible. And if I move it 100% to the right, it will be fully invisible, literally. You see?
Is that normal when you style mobile as a default and then style the web?
Is it normal to style it differently?
You know, to style it mobile first.
Yeah. Actually, there is a pattern called mobile first development. Yeah? You may see once you start looking for a job, and many companies, they do mobile first development. That means their main focus is mobile. Yeah? A good example of that is Instagram. If you're an Instagram user, you will know that the Instagram app looks really good on your smartphone. However, when you check Instagram on desktop, it's like, what the hell, why they did that, right? That's because what they did first is they built a mobile app. The UX focus was on mobile. Makes sense because probably 90% of their users, if not more, are mobile users. I don't know, I just made that up. And then they say, all right, let's support desktop because blah, blah, blah. And then they change it a bit to look better on desktop, yeah? But the main focus is mobile, and that's a trend. There are more users using the internet on mobile than on desktop. So you are likely to do mobile first development, which is what we did today.
When you mention native app, what do you mean by that? Is it something the app is specific to that environment?
Device, actually.
Yeah, so the thing is, if you go to Google Play, and then you check on the Google Play Store, and then you search Codery, and then you find the Codery app alongside some creepy stuff. Not sure why this is any related to Codery, but anyway, thank you, Google. At least we are the first result, right? So yeah, I mean, that's the native app of Codery, and the thing is, you know, you can install it. It's just a native app, but does that mean I had to rewrite everything? Of course not. Of course not. So that's essentially the same web app. If you go to codery.com on your smartphone, on your web browser, you got the same thing. I just created a wrapper on top of it to be able to download it from the Google Play Store. Yeah, it's like a shell. Yeah, and of course it has some basic utilities. So there are some subtle differences that goes beyond the scope of this session and even of this bootcamp, to be honest with you. But there is a bridge between the web app and the native. So for instance, if I wanted, I could access the camera, yeah, with the native app. Something we are doing is we have a dialogue that, do you like the app? Rate it on Google Play. You know that pop-up that gets on the app sometimes? So we do these things. We don't get these things, obviously, we are on desktop. So, you know, there are some subtle differences, but 99% of the efforts, you know, they are for free because we build the app already for mobile, web mobile. So bringing it into the Play Store is just a piece of cake.
When it comes to these media queries, I'm about first. Are there any like approved standards when it comes to the width of?
That's a good question. That's a good question, Camila. So as you may have noticed, you know, here I said 600 pixels. Why 600? I mean, can we do that? Can we? Is there a keyword like mobile, desktop? Okay. The thing is, I know that 600 pixels looks weird. Why 600 and not 550, yeah, or 650? The thing is, in reality, in our head, we easily differentiate what a mobile is, what a desktop is. But in reality, that line to me is not that bold anymore. Because, for instance, let me give you an example. Can I play Codery like that? I mean, maybe I want to run multiple tabs. I want to, and actually this is something I do often. So I have my VS Code on the left-hand side, and then I got my app on the right-hand side. So my question for you guys is, should now the Codery app play in mobile or in desktop mode? It's mobile. So the important thing here is not about the hardware. I don't care about whether I'm using my laptop, my tablet, my smartphone, or my smart TV. That's not relevant. The important thing is how much available space you got to play with the app. And so that's why I find that pattern particularly interesting, because that means, hey, I don't care what device the user is consuming. I don't care. The important thing is, if the viewport, if that width goes below that mark, then display the app in mobile mode. That's it. To me, that's the correct user interface, because I can easily navigate through the menus given the size of my browser. However, that will feel a bit weird, like what the hell? I cannot click anywhere, right? So that will be wrong. That's the beautifulness about doing media queries. Whether it's 600, 650, I'm not opinionated. I think the standard says the standard. People, the community says.
I think I have something similar to what you're saying, but on emails, obviously not on browser. When
Yeah.
they're sending the text very small because they're not formatting probably from
Yeah.
the viewport.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing.
So would it be only one breakpoint, 600 below or over? Or
So yeah, at Codery, I think we are using, I mean, here we got like two steps, mobile and desktop, and that's it. But in reality, you know, there are like, you can add multiple breakpoints. So for instance, you can focus, you can add another breakpoint. You can do that. So that means, for instance, these styles will apply about 600 pixels. But these styles will apply about 900. So in between of 600 and 900, yeah, we can do some stuff. Yeah. So for instance, here we could apply tablet styles. Yeah. So you can definitely add as many breakpoints as you want. That's up to you. Yeah. Anything else?
Do you have any specificity issues with that?
Yes, of course you have a specificity issues. Look, that's a good question. Look, you got as an example menu. Let me try to find a conflicting property. Yeah, padding top is a good example. Yeah. So if I scroll to the top, in here I'm applying a padding top, 100 pixels. However, if I scroll down, here I got another padding top set to 0. Definitely here we got a specificity.
If you put that padding top now in the minimum width 900, because 900 is above 600.
So here you want me to add menu links and now padding top something else, right? And you want to see something different, 50.
If it was above now 900, which one would agree? Because technically, it's
Yes.
above 600 as well.
Yes, yes, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. So I hope you get his point. So if the resolution is 300, there is no hesitation, right? So that's the only that will apply. If it's 650, it's in between this one and that one. But what if it's 1000? We got 3 classes fighting for the attention of the browser. The one above, this one, and that one. Let's see what happened. Let me close the FPS thingy. And let's see what happened here. So actually, let me maximize the browser for readability purposes. So where is my stuff? I'll find it in a second. Hello, where is my menu? Right, I don't know where the menu is. Did they broke it? All right. Right, so guys, look at the problem, right? Where is my web page? I have no idea. It used to be here, right? I don't think I've changed much. However, there is a problem. No problem at all. Let's try to find out where the problem is. Is there any error on the console? No. The console is fine. Is there any error on the server? Let me check the server. Maybe I did something wrong somewhere. So, view terminal. No. That's interesting, guys. I broke the app and I don't know why. Where is my button? Where is my menu? However, let me try to analyze to see if my elements are displayed or not. Menu button. What the hell? It's there, but I cannot see it anymore. What the hell I did here, guys? Yeah, that's really weird. I broke it somewhere. Let me try to see. Wait. Sorry. There is a horizontal scroll bar, you see? The content was on the right. So once again, we should be very careful with the scrolling on your browser because you can easily hide your content somewhere. You can see it's actually working, yeah? So that's desktop. And let's try mobile. So on mobile, on mobile it works fine. So, but now the question was, I have to zoom it out to get a clear understanding about the number of pixels. So now it's at actual resolution. So an actual resolution, whenever the screen is very large, this is about 1000, yeah? So let's pay attention to the padding top. Menu links, and now padding top, that's a bit hard to see, yeah, because of the resolution. So it's still 0. Look, the one above 900, that was set to 50 pixels. Sorry guys, it's a bit hard. Let me try to get more space. So the one that wins is the one that sets min width 600, sets it to 0. So can anybody figure out why the one that says min width 900 is ignored? That's a good point, Alex. You see, this one wins the fight against this one. Both try to apply, but that one wins. And as Alex suggested, this one wins because even though they have the same specificity, yeah, they play on the same league, this one is declared afterwards. So if I move this one to the bottom, now we should have a padding top of 50 pixels. Aha, aha, aha. Can you see that? Now, the padding top on 600, that doesn't apply anymore. You see it, line through? However, there is another one, the one above 900 that wins. Because as they have the same specificity value, remember that guys, when two classes have the same specificity value, the one declared at the end wins that battle.
Yeah, but if you want to have a padding for a tablet, how would you min and max?
If you want to have a padding, no, that's fine, that's fine. If you, no, listen, that's actually a padding for tablet. That's working as a tablet, as a padding for tablet. So the way it works is, so on mobile, this is mobile. The padding is 100. But then if we keep increasing the size of the screen above 600, but below 900, you can think that as tablet, more or less. In that range, the padding top is 0. Yeah? Actually, we can play with colors if that works any better. So for instance, we have a background magenta. No, for the menu. What is the menu background color? Background color salmon, yeah? So salmon, that's mobile. Let's change the background color on tablets. So background color, give me a different color to salmon. Tuna. 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 Turquoise. And now also on desktop, another color. Green. Okay, cool. So you will, well, green is very similar to turquoise. Let's put red, something horrible, yeah? Just to see that the color changes. So what you will see is, at small resolutions, for mobile devices, the menu will be displayed in salmon color. If we increase the size of the screen, then the background color will become turquoise. And then if we keep increasing the screen, eventually the color will become red. So starting from the beginning, yeah, you see? So this is mobile. Above 600, I'll tell you the numbers, 400 now, 500, eventually it should become turquoise. Here you go, you see? So this is mobile, this is desktop-ish, and eventually about 900, 700, 800, 890, it will become red. Here you go, you see? So yeah, you can definitely play in that way. So you are mobile first, then you are tablet second, and finally you are desktop last, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
Is there are those the actual dimensions that you'd use if you were working with phone desktop, phone tablet desktop? Like what dimensions would you use?
Dimensions? What do you mean?
Well, pick
So you want to check the height as well?
No, I'm just curious, like what? Is there like a standard?
No, as I said before, to me, as far as I know, there is no specific standard. It's just finger in the air. I mean, you know that mobile phones, generally speaking, they have a width of 350, 370. That's something you can check actually. If I check mobile, look, iPhone 6, 7, and 8, that's the width of the phone. If I check different device, iPhone 8 Plus, slightly wider, but still under 600. If I check a very small device, Galaxy S5, 360, yeah? But anyway, you can see that's the classic width. If I check an iPad, for instance, you see 768, yeah? So, and if I check iPad Pro, 124. But the question is, if you have an iPad Pro, how do you want your app to look like? Like desktop, like tablet? That's up to you, right? It's up to you to define the speed traps. Where do you want to? Yeah, correct. A smart TV, different UX, so, you know, all these things. Anything else?
Horizontal scrolling or was
That's a good question. So it was a zoom. I don't think there shouldn't be any horizontal scrolling as far as I can see. If you mess around, so it happens to me many times, as you've noticed today, that as I said, I'm zooming the screen just because I'm trying to present the stuff. When you work by yourself, you don't use all these things. Sometimes like, oh, where is my content, yeah? So try to move the mouse around, and if you give up, what I do is I close the tab, I open a new tab, and when you open a new tab, oh, it persists oh, sorry, so that's wrong. You see, even if you open a new tab, if you were zooming the screen, the zoom still persists.
There's an implicit overflow hidden on the mode. Is an implicit overflow hidden. If I want to move and enlarge the width.
Yes, there is an overflow hidden, but let's discuss that on a separate session. It's completely unrelated to this stuff. Sorry, Andrea. Anything else about this workshop? No? Cool. That was it. Thank you for watching.